about Harambee Stars and how they've been performing in the last year. But we want to change the conversation. Before we get into women's football, the under-15 team that we have that is currently being homeschooled at Thome. You know, how were the players selected and how does it run?
So in 2017,
yes,
Robinson, we had an under-13 national league, which I remember we aired live on KTN, and I forget the first time.
You were in
Small
Nakuru.
Kids. We were in Nakuru, and
Yes.
I think it was the finals were live on your show. And from that finals, and from that league, we selected 36 of the best kids across the country. We brought those kids together. They played together since then. They went to Southampton in 2017, where they were playing against Southampton, Porto, Chelsea. They came back. We put them in school at Laser Hill Academy and at Juja Preparatory.
Yes.
But they were split, so we were putting 6 kids here, 7 kids here. So they were there the whole year in 2018, and we felt that we didn't achieve, from a football perspective, we can't achieve them being together, playing together every day, morning and evening if they're in that program. So what did we do? This year, we moved in. We acquired a place in Garden Estate, and we have put the kids there. And they're going to be homeschooled. Today, the new phenomenon of big athletes in tennis, in golf, is that after 13, they don't do the normal schooling, Robinson, that me and you did.
Yes.
So they're being homeschooled, but they're training in the morning and in the afternoon. That team was already a super team. They were under 13, now they are under 15. This year, in March, we're taking them to the biggest youth tournament and the best in the world in Barcelona, called MIC, where all your biggest players, the Messis and all these guys, Kakas, that is where they went through. We're taking these kids there in March. We've already booked it. They'll be there in March. And they will be together the whole year, playing morning and evening, training together with a trainer, living together, learning and schooling together. Just like Clairefontaine Academy in France, where I've just been.
Yes.
It's amazing what you can do with a top facility. Now at Federation FKF, in the next 4 years, we're going to build accommodation for them. An academy of 4 classes, where under 13 will come in, move to the next class, and under 13 will come. So 4 classes by the time 2022 comes, will have gone through the system. So at 15, at 16, we will enroll them to the under 17, Sekafa that we played last year. So they play together. At 18 and 19, they'll go to clubs. And from clubs, we put them in under 20 of national team. And then we'll do that again and again and again. This is the secret of top-level football. Getting 10,000 hours before 18, training together every day, picking the best kids across the country. This year, we have registered 25,000 kids across the country. Even if you're in Lodwar, even if you're in Kilifi, we'll get you. The complaint before has been only football you played in Nairobi. Now we're picking kids from everywhere. You've seen that kid, Sydney Lokale, picked from the deep of Samburu, playing in Nakuru, into Chapadimba, into Kariobangi Sharks, scoring goals for national team. That is what we shall do. We're on the lookout. We have a system now and the infrastructure in place to pick out a kid. Today and yesterday, Chapadimba is going on in Kisumu.
Kisumu, yes.
And we are picking the best. We have seen girls who we didn't know about. They're in the finals today. We are picking them for under 20. For sure, they're going to play for Kenya. This is the system we have put in place, Robinson. It's interesting for me. For me, it's our top golden lining. That's our platinum. That is what we have done for this country.
Yes.
And if we pull it off in the next 4 years, I promise you, Robinson, when I am 60, we shall look back and say, this team in the World Cup, because our target is 2026 World Cup, we should never miss it. Of course, we want now in 2019 Cup of Nations. We want to go back in 2021. We want to play in Chan in January. We want to go back in 2021. We want to go back again. We want to go to 2022. And we are preparing now for that. Which is what Kenya didn't do for the last 30 years. So we're saying that you're seeing tranquility, you're seeing some order, in the midst of all the problems, all the financial issues, all the delays. The order is there, and slowly you're seeing the kids come through from under 20, from under 17. Now, I dare say that our under 15 is our best team. If you watch them play against...
That's something you told me when Harambee Stars won the Team of the Year at the Soy Awards.
I can tell you that our U15 is our best team. I am urging Kenyans to watch that team. They play against the seniors of ladies, and it's normally like a PlayStation game. They keep the ball for half an hour, my friend. Those kids are small. They're going to grow now. We want to put them in the system. This year, we're going to take another class.
Yes.
We will take them again to Barcelona. We'll take them again to super training for home-based schooling. And from now on, the best players in Kenya will be at the center. They will be recruited by big clubs. I am negotiating with other countries in France to find clubs who can come and look at them and take them at an early age. Because the one area we have failed to do, Robinson,
Yes.
is that our players don't get to Europe early. If you go to Nigeria, the best players leave Nigeria at 14. If you go to Cameroon, the same. They go to France so early, so they get the best training so early. We have not been able to do that as Kenya. We have very few professionals out there. We want now to put players out there to make sure that our team, our first 11, is all professional in the future. But also to make Gor Mahia, beating Zamalek now, qualify to the next stage, be number 1 in the group, because I think they can do it.
Yes.
And have another, so that we can have another slot. So number 1 and number 2 of the league can now go to the Champions League. And this way then, even the players who are playing here, they get a chance to play in Africa at the highest level. You have seen Gor Mahia go away to Lobby Stars,
Yes.
and funny things happening there. They could have beaten them home and away. You have seen Kariobangi Sharks go to Kumasi
Yes.
and do something. And you are seeing our teams now for the first time put in a stamp, because our league is among the best in Africa. We don't want to do this by just talking about it. We want to raise the level so that even how you're paid when you're here is the best. And that way you don't need to leave. If you're going to earn $3,000, it's better to stay here and earn $2,000 than go out and earn $3,500 in Sweden. We want to make it that way, but it's going to take some time. And we are very focused in doing it. I think that in the next 6 years, you will see a revolution and a big change when you compare 3 years when we were here and 5 years from now. I think that you will see night and day scenario arising.
Last year, it was a heartbreak for Harambee Starlets after Equatorial Guinea were reinstated back to AUCON. And generally, you know, how has women's football been how was it in 2018, apart from the heartbreak for the Starlets?
I think that FIFA has recognized us to be the team that is most serious about women football in Africa.
Yes.
And that is why they have instituted a program of $1 million for 2 years for mentoring leadership of women in football. To do what? To identify coaches.
Kenya was the only country in Africa.
Kenya was the only country. So what we have done is that we go to Mombasa and we bring women football leaders from Kilifi, okay, from Lamu together. We train them how they can bring up an under-13 girls team. How they can, because the girls are different from the boys. And when we do that, now we begin to have coaches. You have seen us bring 2 assistant coaches who are our girls, Anna Luoch, in the national team Harambee Starlets, to try and bring them up, because we are lacking women who can lead our game. We are lacking women who can drive the game. And we want to bring them up so that if we bring them up across the country, we have an under-13 league of women. The way we are having now in Chapadimba, the girls are playing the same as the boys. Last year we took to London, as you know.
Yes.
The girls and the boys are the same level. We want to do that and do that repeatedly, because there are more opportunities in the women game than there are in the men's game. We are putting, Robinson, 34% of our income, of our FIFA funds, go to women. No one else is doing that. We have our 2 leagues, our Premier League and our Division 1, all funded by the Federation. For match day events, for match day costs, we are doing that. So I think for women, we are on the right course. We have not done enough. We need now to have a center of excellence for women football. That's a big one. If we can also have the girls put home-based schooling, sitting at under 13 in a center of excellence, I think that will be even bigger than what we have now. Can we do it? I think in 3-4 years it's possible to do it. But what is the aim? The aim is to be champions in Africa. And I can assure you, Robinson, by the time I leave here, Kenya will be champions of Africa in women. I am convinced we shall do it. I know it might be 4 years from today, but we really don't care. We'll be champions of Africa. We shall go to the World Cup, not only represent Kenya, but actually put up show for Kenya. And that's what we have to do. When you look at the girls playing in Chapadimba now, it gives you hope on what we can do.
Of course, you came out a few weeks back saying that the Kenya Premier League contract with the Football Kenya Federation is coming to an end.
Yeah, it's a favorite subject for you guys. It's a favorite subject for journalists.
Are we, and you said that Football Kenya Federation will start, producing matches for themselves, that
Yes.
you already have an OB.
So let me clarify on the
Yes,
situation around the Kenya Premier League.
Yes,
I want to be clear.
yes,
Because when we came here, the one thing we have promised, Robinson,
Yes.
is that we become upfront. We share the information in a very transparent and honest way, so that every Kenyan understands, because it's their right, they elected us. So the Kenya Premier League contract will end in August of 2020. And we are discussing that after August 2020, what do we want? We want a better organization than we have done
yes,
of the Premier League. You will notice in the last 1 year, we have no fights with KPL anymore.
yes,
In the first 2 years, lots of fights. In the last 2018, no fight. All right? And that's where we want to go. In 2019, I believe no fight, because we're not going to fight. But what we want to configure an entity that leaves the clubs to organize finances for themselves, to commercialize, but leaves the other aspects of football, like judicial bodies, like officiating, to the mother body, FKF. So that now that configuration, the clubs are let to organize their finances and their matches. But the issues about discipline, the issues about officiating, the issues about overall football matters that are FIFA, CAF, FKF are left to that, so that it is clear that FKF will not interfere, all right?
Yes.
But it's also clear that the clubs and the KPL cannot, and the Premier League cannot do what they're not supposed to do. In this, we are thinking about how to configure that arrangement, because we also do not want to interfere. There's so much work to be done with the national teams,
Yes.
with women, with all this. We do not want to run that ship. We can run it. We don't want to run it. The right way is for the clubs to show that. And the important things we're proposing is this. We want to have a chairman who is neutral. When you're elected chairman of KPL, you stop being a chairman of a club.
yes,
So that you're elected for 4 years. So when you make a decision about Leopards, about Gor Mahia, about Kariobangi Sharks, you're neutral. Just the way I stopped being a chairman of Kariobangi Sharks when I became FKF president, is the same way we want for the KPL. So that we can divorce the management of that entity, so that it's run properly. And this person is elected by the membership of the game at the AGM, just like the president. And this individual sits in the executive of FKF, as well as the way the president sits in the executive of the Premier League. We want to clear this matter so we can have now contracts that are long-term. And so we can now say we have a van to produce matches. We're no longer fighting with the Premier League about that they have their own vans and we have our own vans. It looks ridiculous because it's a football money that we committed to do that. So now from there, we can produce our own content. When we produce it, we can go online on Facebook.
Yes.
As you've seen, there's big following in it.
Yes.
But important I see in future is that the game is changing so drastically that people like Amazon and Netflix are going to acquire rights
yes,
for leagues like KPL. And so they will pay big bucks for it. So that if you want to watch the KPL, you'll be doing it on Netflix in your house, on your laptop, on your device. That's where this trend is going. And we are preparing so that the future can get that better for us. So we understand it, and so we stop these issues about fights that don't help the game at all.
Are we looking forward to seeing more partnerships with different corporates or that we in the country?
Yes, I can tell you that we have a lot of people because of AFCON talking to us and wanting to come into the game and saying, how can we take part, how can we take part? I can tell you that we begin to discuss about the sponsorships of 2020 later this year. We don't wait for 2020. We begin to discuss with the clubs now and potential suitors now. So we have a clear environment and enough time to think about it. And when we do it, we are finally able, as we promised, Robinson,
Yes.
to implement a minimum wage for our players. Because remember, we said we want to do it. But we cannot do it if Chemili doesn't have a sponsor. So we want to make sure we have enough money. My ambition is how we can have $150,000 to $200,000 per club in time, maybe in 2-3 years. That way then we can tell that club, you must pay a player $350 a month. So this player must earn this much. And must be a rule. So that way then our players can also raise our standards. And that way we can attract the talent coming from the region to build our game. So these are the things we have in our mind, and we're going to continue working on them. And I'm sure, Robinson, there's only one way, and that way is up. If you look at football now, we had never had a spell of 3 years with no politics in the game as we've done. And now me and you are discussing the game. We're not discussing how yesterday we fought on the street with some opponents and how we were throwing stones and doing some funny things at Kasarani. No, no. We're talking about the football in a year when traditionally we would be here talking about where I'll be campaigning in the next 3 months, which is a drastic departure from the first. And I can tell you that if we continue like this for 6 to 10 years, there's only one way, and that way is up.
Finally, are we going to see more grants for the women's teams that's in the WPL?
So we have a problem, Robinson.
Yes.
Last year, we sat as an executive committee and said, let's take some of our money and boost our Women Premier League and Division 1. They've never got anything. Let's give them some $7,500, some 750,000 shillings in 2 batches so that we can boost them. And this money was FIFA grants. So we went out and agreed, and we paid them the first batch. But then FIFA delayed, because of the World Cup, FIFA delayed remitting to us the remaining money. And the clubs refused to go and play. The clubs refused to go and play, Robinson. And we told them, how can you not play? You never had anything before. When we have something now, you're rejecting to go and play. We told them, okay, don't play. Wait until we pay you. The money came, we paid them. So we said, it was like a curse. So we want to use that money in another way this year. You know, we have so many areas of need, even in the women game. The women game now has a FIFA development program. The women game now, we are paying everything for match costs for them. So we're going to find another way to use that money in the women game, rather than giving a team money, which then tomorrow they turn around and say, because you're not giving us money, we're not going to play. It's like the way you have a curse, a good thing that comes and then brings, instead of making things better, they make things worse for us. We learn our lessons, and we continue to learn our lessons every day, and you're going to see that changing. Yes.
Well, thanks a lot, Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa. Thank you for finding time to come to talk to us about how your reign has been so far, the developments that you've done in football in Kenya, of course, and what to expect in 2019. The national football team, that is Harambee Stars, will be in action in the Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. Of course, we've been looking forward to their preparations for that regional championships and how that goes. But that is rather where we call it a day here on Scoreline. My name is Robinson Okenye. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.